Hello everyone! Welcome back to Let's Play Breath of Fire 2. We're just taking a short nap since the end of the last episode, gotta catch up on our Z's. More importantly, we are performing another death warp, which we did by not saving when we went back to hometown, so now we get to clear yet another section of backtracking without any effort. And joining me today is Skyzo. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Hello, everybody.
Alright, so, well, first of all, this is Breath of Fire 1's world map music that this game's reusing for its second world map music. So that's a fun fact. More important, though, I want to switch out Bosch and Lean for Sten and Nina, because it's very unlikely I'll fight anything, and even if I do, the enemies I fight are the very weak sea jellies, which basically just run away and do weak attacks, and catfish, which are the same deal, just they don't run away. One other enemy you could get is something called the Scissor Hermit, and you can fight up to 3 of them. They have a very low chance of casting the Iceblast spell, which does around 100 ice damage to someone. They're also weak to thunder though, so in that case I want to use Whelps, Seamoons, and Jolt to KO 2 of them before they move, like you see in the screenshots. Very unlikely you'll get that fight since we didn't take that many steps, but it's a minor nitpick, something to keep in mind if you're playing along with me.
It's fair enough.
Now as far as this next place, we want Rand, and we want to make sure that we take Lean into this dungeon because her field ability can only be used in certain towns and dungeons, and it's basically to smash up anything in your path, like the wooden fence. You do have another option though, because if you've been raising Nina and you've got her to at least level 13, this is the time where you'd want to make use of her exit spell, because this dungeon is the only one in the game that we won't be able to cast exit from if we haven't been raising Nina. All the others, they either disable the exit spell or you'll have another character, say the secret character or our final party member with exit at level 17 or 18 or so. Just something to keep in mind. That all being said, Nina is very weak and very slow, so I don't like assuming that she'll survive a stray crit or something, so I'd still choose to make use of another death warp during this dungeon. So that's that.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Speedruns do it though, so it is an option. Anyways, we are inside a whale, Skyzo. Did you know that?
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't say that this is unusual for this game, to be honest.
And here's another fun fact for you. Did you know that whales speak in this game?
Not really.
Yep. Whew. And it looks like this guy's been trying to wake him up by attacking his uvula, or his Adam's apple, as the old translation called it. That was a blunder.
Oh yeah, definitely. And, okay, so it's asleep. That's fine.
Yeah. And the other 2 whales, Poe and Sidon, are having nightmares about someone telling them to go to sleep. I guess this guy's big on irony.
I can imagine.
More importantly, though, it has succeeded in putting this guy to sleep, which is presumably why the whale hasn't reacted to his uvula being set on fire.
Who did that?
Malleol, he's trying to wake him up so he can learn from him about the history of the world.
Oh. And the whale felt no pain?
Well, he's sleeping. that demonic thing is keeping him down.
Oh, okay.
Also, don't try to wonder about how these guys got in or how they're exiting. Believe me, you probably don't want to know.
Yeah, that's...
Hey, wait a minute! Do we have a dolphin?
Nope.
How are we gonna get out?
I have no idea.
Well, the guy just sort of ditched us, so we don't have any way to go but forward.
That's true, so long as we're not unlucky.
Well, we got lucky by running into these guys, because their gimmick is that they're really fast. In fact, they're actually called fast men in the old translation. But their attacks are pathetic, and they have some of the best spells in the game, but they don't have the AP to use most of them. The only one they can use is something called S-Boom or Thunder, I think, which does a pretty good amount of damage, but not enough to wipe you. And then there's these guys, one of those scissor hermits I was telling you about, but also some hermit squids. Hermit squids will always cast defense up on the first turn, which increases defense by 1.2 times. So they're not to worry about. The one where you want to focus on is the scissor hermit, so he doesn't use Iceblast or something, which is why we use Sea Moon, and why Rand is going to use Jolt to take advantage of their electric weakness. And then, just put him down for the count.
It's clever. I feel that buffs in this game are very mild. Not something to worry about, apart from the lizards, right? Raise their attack.
By twice, yeah. Like, for example, we have one of those right now. Just like the last one, these guys can increase someone's attack by twice its original amount. So, preferably we'd want to kill them before that happens, but nothing to be done if they cast it on their first turn.
Could you imagine if there was a combo of an enemy that could cast a defense up on another enemy, and then that enemy could cast an attack up?
Oh, the 3 lizard men could do that if you're unlucky enough. But enough about that for now. These shotgun heads, their gimmick is that they have really high defense, and they heal themselves for 100 HP, but there's an AI loop you can take advantage of, in that they will always choose to heal the one with less HP, even when they're already healed up. So what you do is you focus your attacks on one, and then you attack the other one so that you can take down their HP while they're healing the first one. And after 2 turns of that, they'll run out of HP, at which point you can just take them out. Just like that. Now, let's talk about the attack formula, since it'll be of minor importance. First of all, there are 3 different ones that the game uses depending on the difference between your attack and the enemy's defense. We'll call that power. And what's most relevant to us is the mid-range versus the high range. Now, we just lowered Ryu's defense to 78. And that monster there has 178 attack. So the difference is large enough that we enter the high range, which has... Well, okay, all of them have one of 4 multipliers to increase the final damage by. But if we increase our defense so that the difference is 92, we enter the mid-range instead with much higher multipliers, which results in damage like that. Did you see the difference, Gaizo?
Yeah, that's it's programming, right?
Yep, that's Breath of Fire 2 things.
Yep.
Now, you don't have to worry about that too much, It's just there's one boss that I take advantage of that on, mainly for Cat since her defense is very low anyway, so there are times I actually lessen her defense so that she enters the high range formula rather than the mid range. There's also these guys called fatties or cellulites that are giant mountains of EXP but have 0 defense and lots of HP, so I take advantage of the formula to maximize my damage on those. So keep that in mind.
Right.
Oh, here's a dangerous one, and one I made an enormous mistake on. So what you want to do is you want to have Rand use Jolt, and then you just want to spread your attacks on everyone. Do not have more than one character attack the same target, as I am about to do here, and have Sten use Sea Moon rather than his regular melee attack. Had I done that, I would have avoided the catastrophe coming up next. Just watch and see.
You know, I wonder if there's a move that the enemies can do, like Protect in Pokemon, or they can just negate a turn for them.
Fortunately not. But yeah, check this out. Boom! Crit kill! Because these guys have a 50% chance of critting as well. And had I focused my attacks more, I could have had Cat kill the one with Might on him so that wouldn't have happened. Or, if I'd gotten just a teensy bit more EXP, Sten would have learned Fire Blast and had an AoE attack to kill all of them with. Coupled with Jolt, that is. But that was not to be, and Ryu is dead. So, we just have to hope we get a good encounter and wake him up with Rand. And by the way, the golden armor, slightly better than what we were wearing, but kills your vigor, so we only want it on Ryu.
Right, yeah, that was an impressive amount of damage.
Indeed. This dungeon, I would consider it the very last one that can make you bleed. From this point forward, the game is gonna experience a sharp drop in difficulty, no matter what kind of playstyle you're using. It's not that it's not gonna become a joke per se, but, well, you're not gonna be at risk of dying if you know what you're doing. Let's just put it that way.
Right, so I guess there's no revives that you have access to, right? So you have to do those in battle.
Oh no, we have revives, it's just they cost 500 Zenny apiece, and we're not using the infinite gold trick like we did in the bonus episodes.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that.
Actually, do we? I might have used my last one on Quadra to revive Lean so she'd get experience. I don't remember.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah. My apologies. That said, she has reached a high enough level to where she can outspeed the boss if she wears the lightest piece of equipment we have, the cloth. We don't want to equip her with that right now, but right before the boss, we want to make sure we do that. Anyways, this right here, now normally, we want to take care of the hermit squids first, I believe, so that they don't multiply the shotgun heads' defense by even more, but we learned Fire Blast, so we're just gonna do that instead.
It's a devious combo, right? Adding even more defense, multiplying it, I guess.
Indeed. And as you can see, Sten and Lean outspeed the hermit squid, so even if I didn't have Fire Blast, I would have just killed it before it could cast the spell anyway.
It's a great animation for Fire Blast.
Yep, it's the Pyramid of Power, as I like to call it.
It's very cool.
Yeah. Now, I think this is the room where I want Cat to have that piece of cloth on. because with that piece of cloth, she has just barely enough vigor to outspeed the boss. If she were even 1 point off at all, she would be slower. So keep that in mind.
Right.
I mean, it's not like super critical, but it does mean she can heal up anyone who needs it in case of a stray crit or something. Alrighty then. Also, pro tip, do not try to read out this guy's dialogue, because once he wakes up, he's gonna go really crazy with the ellipses. Like so.
Oh yeah, I can tell.
Hmm.
Also, that is a spooky sprite, I gotta say.
Indeed. I'll bet he'll look just as scary in the fight.
Hopefully.
Actually, okay, he's not. In fact, he's kind of goofy looking, but... Yeah, I'm just really glad I don't read out the text like a lot of Let's Players do. To me, that's a sign that I've run out of things to say, but... Also, it would make dialogue like that really tedious to read. Anyways, for this guy, Ryu is the only one with a holy elemental weapon, the Saw Blade, so he's the guy I actually want doing the attacks. Also Sten for some incidental damage, Lean because why not, she's faster, doesn't have anyone to heal. But most importantly, this guy resists everything except holy, and he'll use Nightmare and put people to sleep on the first turn, then turn 5, then turn 9, and so on and so forth. And then after that, it's just basic melee attacks. He's a glorified random encounter, really.
He's not doing as much damage as I thought he would.
Like I said, basically just a rando. Once again, Breath of Fire 2's boss difficulty is remarkably inconsistent. It's not a curve, it's a series of peaks and valleys. And I think I finally understand why. I had an epiphany. Do you know what I think is happening, Skyzo?
I would imagine it's rush development.
No, see, I'm actually going to defend them on this one. Because if you think back to it, and you have an elephant's memory like I do, all of the really tough bosses are also guys you can immediately re-challenge if you die. Whereas all the easy bosses like this tend to come after long dungeons. I mean, let's think about it. First we have Bunyan. Super easy, barely a challenge. But he comes at the end of Tagsy Woods, where the enemies are so strong compared to where we are. We're level 6, Ryu is all alone, doesn't even know basic healing, can barely afford a stack of herbs. That has at least one random that's so hard we'd rather run from it, even with just a 25% chance. So, Bunyan is super easy to make up for that. Argus is this insane guy who's bulky, attacks twice a turn, has enraged attacks that can one-shot Lean and all that. But he's also sitting in his office in the Colosseum, no random encounters at all, and you've also just given up all your gold to Rand, so you don't even lose any money if you die. And by the way, we're gonna death warp here. And then there's Joker, who has less HP than Argus. You fight him with 3 party members who all outspeed and has an elemental weakness. But he came after a dungeon. You don't mind if I go on, do you, Skyzo?
No, I find this interesting.
Awesome. And then we have that 1300 HP monster called the Terrapin. Spams AoEs, beginning trap for most people, and we bought 45 herbs just to deal with him. But you fight him almost immediately after entering the town. There's just like 2 fixed encounters, and that's it. Like, the boss is the dungeon, basically. Then we have Nympho, who has less than half the HP of the Terrapin and dies to like 2 whelp spells. She can stun lock kill you with Dream Breath, but that's remarkably unlikely to happen, and I think that was an accident more than anything. She's at the top of a 15-minute dungeon though, so you have to do quite a bit of fighting to get to her. And then you remember the Wildcat? That guy that can do over 100 unblockable, non-elemental damage to one character whenever he feels like it?
Right.
You don't have to fight a single guy before him. We fought a bouncer, but only because we disobeyed one of the instructions, and you get all your items taken away. So I think that's why the guy was as insane as he was, because they wanted the boss to be hard, even though you're coming at him completely fresh. And then we have the SimaFort bosses, which are medium in difficulty. Not so hard, but you fight 3 of them, basically one after the other. And then we have Quadra, who, in addition to always going first and having like, I think 1600 HP or so, was supposed to have instant death, zombie breath, which could zombify all of your party members, and had that strong attack that did triple damage. But there also weren't any random encounters at all between the cooking contest and him. And finally, we get to Munmar, the glorified random encounter, but guarded by some really dangerous enemies like the 3 lizards. I think there's a consistent enough pattern here that I think they did this on purpose. What do you think, Skyzo?
Well, I think that's an interesting observation. I'm not sure they intended to, have this kind of effect, but it is something to think about. It is some food for thought, for sure.
At the very least, it may be that even if they didn't intend that to be the case, it might be a good idea if I was ever to design an RPG in the future. Don't balance the bosses by the order they appear, but by how many fights you have to go through before them.
I could see some weight to that, since you would be introduced to the same amount of mechanics, right? And it would make for a smoother transition, or something like that.
Or, alternatively, maybe just don't have so many bosses that are available to fight right as you get into the town. Always have a dungeon first before them.
That's valid too, and it looks like we have fast travel now.
Yep. With a whale with a cowboy accent.
Yep.
Well, at least he's awake now. But in any case, we're gonna warp on back to the whale beach right here. And you want to talk to this old man to get the whale bell. And once you've gotten that, you can summon the whale whenever you press the A button on any beach in the world. Has to be a beach. Can't be anywhere. But once you do, you get access to the ocean, the game opens up, and perhaps sweetest of all, you don't get any random encounters on the ocean, so it's so convenient. I was actually planning to do bonus episode number 1 after this episode instead of right before SimaFort. Then I realized I was thinking too much like a speedrunner and not enough like a casual gamer and moved it way down. I think that's better in the long run. What do you think?
I agree with you on that.
And besides, there's actually more bonus material we have to cover immediately after this one, so perhaps the bonus episode would have ended up too large if we'd done it that way. Oh, one more thing. Did you see how I brought up a map? That's with the select button. And the more of the world you explore, the more and more of it gets revealed. Anyways, that's all for this episode. Be sure to join me next time for how to break the game even harder than before. And then after that, see how our search for the Grassman grows. This is Fiona Day Quester signing out. Have a nice day, everyone, and God bless you.
Alright, I'll see you later.
Bye.